Hello guys, I want to promote this YouTube channel, Real Lingual Lore. Yes, it's a new YouTube channel with only 500 subscribers, but he make interesting video, and this one is going to be the first one that I'm going to react to, and it picked my attention. You can see why Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish are partly German. Well, I know that they are considered North Germanic languages, right? Because I did react to a video about that. But I think this might go even deeper, and I'm quite intrigued because when I think of Germany, I never think of the Nordic country when it comes to anything. I feel like life in Germany and life in the Nordic country is really, really different. I feel in 2026, there's not a lot of comparison between the Nordic country and Germany. Germany is more like similar to, I don't know, Austria, other country that speak like German. And I feel like it's really different in the Nordic country. But yeah, let's react to this video. Look very interesting. Let's go.
Why does a modern
I need
Swede
to have my
sound
glasses.
more like a medieval German merchant than a Viking warrior? Centuries ago, a massive linguistic change happened to the languages of Scandinavia. Listen to a modern Swede say the word Fönster, window.
Fönster. You say it like a German a long time ago.
Or Kopa, to buy,
Kopa.
or Arbeta, to work. None of these
Arbeta.
words are Old Norse. They're Low German, borrowed so long ago
wow.
that most Swedes today have no idea they're speaking a language that was, in part, built by foreign merchants. This is the story of how the Hanseatic League, a medieval trade network headquartered far to the south, quietly reshaped the grammar and vocabulary of an entire region, not through conquest, but through commerce. To understand what changed, we need to understand what was there before. Old Norse, spoken from roughly 700 to 1300 AD, was a highly inflected language. That means nouns changed their endings depending on their grammatical role in a sentence. Subject, object, possession. It had 4 cases, 3 grammatical genders, and a complex...
Oh my god, so I feel like but these are all normal letter, right? It's just the orientation. A D with an S inside, an N with a P on top, a D with an S inside, a H with an A. So the letter were inside other letter also. It was different.
Object, possession. It had 4 cases, 3 grammatical genders, and a complex verb system. In this sense, it looked more like modern German or Latin than like modern Swedish, Danish, or Norwegian. The Viking Age dialects weren't uniform, but they were mutually intelligible. A Norwegian sailor and an Icelander could hold a conversation.
Wow.
The runic inscriptions and the sagas give us a fairly clear picture of what the language sounded like and how it worked. Then, gradually, over the course of the third...
I mean, it makes sense because I always forget that, like, if we go back in time, the map, the world map, didn't look at what it looked like now, right? So it's the language and migration, people move. So, for example, right, I'm French Canadian. I'm from Canada. We were both colonized in Canada by the British and the French. And apparently, well, that's what people told me. My French audience told me that the way that I speak French, la façon que je parle français, c'est la façon qu'ils parlaient. It's the way that they were speaking French in France like 300-400 years ago. So we speak in Quebec, in Canada, the way that our colonizer were speaking French. Versus now in France, they speak completely a different kind of French that is more modern. We still speak what is considered to be like old French in Canada.
14th and 15th centuries, something shifted. The inflectional system simplified dramatically. Vocabulary changed. And the driver wasn't internal, it came from the south. The Hanseatic League was a commercial and defensive confederation of merchant guilds and market towns, centered mainly in northern Germany. At its peak in the 14th century, it controlled trade across much of the Baltic and North Sea region. Cities like Lübeck, Hamburg, and Bremen were its core, but its reach extended east into Poland.
Look at the map. Jutland. Katimin. Baltic Sea, yes. But see what the map is? The map is so different. Wait, what? So the land it was shrinked back then, right? Skagerrak. I don't even know where... Is that Denmark? Jutland. Wow, this is so confusing. I don't know where is what. I don't even know where Finland is. Is it gone? Like, Estonia, Livonia, Kurtland. It's Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, right? Oh, cool. What is Kurtland? Lithuania is below. What is Kurtland? Wow, this is so difficult to understand. Okay.
Russia and north into Scandinavia. Bergen in Norway was one of the most important Hanseatic outposts outside Germany. The German merchants there, the contour of Bergen, weren't just passing through. They lived in permanent
Victor.
trading posts, controlled the dried fish trade, and for stretches of time wielded more economic power in the city than the Norwegian crown itself. Similar dynamics played out in Stockholm, in Tallinn, and along the Danish coasts. These merchants spoke Middle Low German, the lingua franca of Hanseatic commerce. When two languages come into sustained contact, borrowing is inevitable, especially when one side holds economic...
Hey, that's what we call migration. That's what we call being an immigrant, even though it's not really the what it was called back then. Basically, if you're a merchant and you spend half of your life in a country, you're basically an immigrant at this point. You're spreading your culture and your language, right, with the local. It's well, in a way, it's what slavery was too, right? And when America was colonizing, and the British and the Portuguese and the Spaniard was colonizing, the culture, the language, even the tribe that still speak their own language, they still have little snippet of the language of their colonizer in and there, you know?
Power. The Scandinavian languages absorbed Middle Low German vocabulary at a remarkable rate during the Hanseatic period. Linguists estimate that Swedish, Danish, and Norwegian each borrowed somewhere between a quarter and a third of their core vocabulary from Low German during this period. These aren't obscure technical terms. They're everyday words, like handle, meaning to trade, or betale, meaning to pay. In Danish, the number of Low German loanwords used in daily speech is particularly high.
Not surprising that it's word relating to like doing business or commerce.
This kind of borrowing is called lexical replacement when native words are pushed out entirely, and it happened on a significant scale. Old Norse had perfectly functional words for many of these concepts. They simply fell out of use as the German alternatives became dominant in trade, administration, and urban life. This is where linguists are more careful. It's tempting to say the Hanseatic League caused the simplification of Scandinavian grammar, the loss of cases, the reduction of grammatical gender from 3 to 2 in Danish and Swedish, but causation is hard to establish. What we can say is...
Damn, how accurate is the recollection of how realistic this is. Look at this. Building with the triangle. That big ship looks so cool. I know life was hard back then, but when you look at this image, you're like, my God, this is impressive to look at, especially for... They had no technology the way that we have these days, and they were making so many beautiful things. You know, look at these both.
Danish and Swedish, but causation is hard to establish.
What
we can say is that the timing coincides. The simplification of Old Norse grammar in the continental Scandinavian languages accelerates during the same centuries of intense Hanseatic contact. One hypothesis is that large numbers of Low German speakers learning Scandinavian as a second language contributed to pressure on the case system. Non-native speakers tend to simplify inflectional endings. Another is that the urban, multilingual environments of Hanseatic trading towns were simply places where linguistic complexity wore down faster. Icelandic, which had far less contact with the Hanseatic League, retained much of its Old Norse inflectional
my God.
System, and to this day preserves 4 grammatical cases. This contrast is often cited as circumstantial evidence that contact played a role in simplification on the mainland, though Iceland's relative isolation was also a factor. What makes this story remarkable is how invisible it is to most people today. Swedes, Danes, and Norwegians use Low German loanwords constantly without any awareness of their origin. The linguistic fingerprints of a trade network that collapsed in the 16th century are still present in every grocery run, every job description, every conversation about money. Language doesn't change through dramatic events alone. It changes through repetition, through thousands of small transactions, negotiations, and conversations between people who needed to understand each other. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.
I mean, come on, guys. It's like when, how do we say it? When people say that, like, immigrant is gonna destroy people's language and culture. I mean, look, you always make it work and your language evolves, right? Who create language? It's people, right? People create language. Language evolve. The way that Swedish sound right now, it's not the way that it's gonna sound in 2,000 years. Immigrants and everything, they're not gonna steal the Swedish language to make it like another language. They're just gonna make it evolve into something that is different, but equally as amazing. I'm sure that the way Swedish people were speaking like 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago was great too. Today you guys use German loanword or whatever, Low German loanword. Does it make you feel less Swedish because of that? No. Does it make you look like less Norwegian, less Danish, less Icelandic because of that? No. So there's a misunderstanding that it's easy to remove a culture. It's actually not. It's not easy. Even the culture that historically have been like pounded on and people try so hard to erase, these cultures still exist today. It's really hard to erase a culture. I don't know. Maybe because I'm from Canada and we don't have that kind of issue. We have a lot of land and no worry about anything. Maybe that's why I'm speaking like that. I don't know, but let me know what you think in the comment below.